Good morning and welcome to My Left Ear. I'm Carrie Freeman. This is a liberal YouTube channel, just so you're warned. My Left Ear is about my intuition, my predictions, the images I get. They all come through my left ear. That's how I get my information. And what I do is I disseminate the news and I share what feels important or even entertaining. I just did a video yesterday before the attempted shooting of Donald Trump. It is Sunday, July 14th. So after I did the video, I went about my business, and then, of course, the shooting occurred. And the first thing that popped into my mind was yesterday when I did the runes, about the circumstances with Joe Biden, blah, blah, blah. The middle rune yesterday was the rune of disruption. And I remember saying to you, now, it could be about Trump. It did cross my mind because it can portend a death, usually symbolic. That's what the book says. But I just thought it was, coincidental, shall we say. So today's going to be short. I felt really compelled to come on and talk to you today for a moment. Everybody's doing it. This is my take. I don't know what to think. There were some things that happened in regard to this shooting that are very odd to me, but my understanding is the shooter has died, but an attendee of the rally died also. So it's hard to say, oh, this was planned, this was fixed. But the Secret Service people, when they went in to, apprehend Donald Trump, if you look at the photos, it's bizarre, my friends. They were all smiling. They were smiling. It is bizarre. Please go back and take a look at the still shots. And there was one female, and she was really, the look on her face was being amused. So I don't know what to say. Also, it seemed to me odd that this blood, none of it trickled down onto his white shirt. It was all just kind of like his face and his ear. That was weird to me. And also they were talking, I think Trump is going to say he was grazed by a bullet, but in fact, to the best of my knowledge, it was flying glass. And it looks like flying glass. I don't know how a bullet from an assault weapon could just graze somebody. They're very serious machines. And also what I was struck by was Trump's big fist pump at the end. That he had to get that in. And that doesn't seem like someone who's in shock. It seems to me like it was very important for him to portray a martyr in that moment. And he looked happy. He looked like triumphant, almost like I told you. And then all of this happened after Trump was missing for 10 days. Now, I'm posing questions, right? I don't have the answers, but I can't quite say it was a hoax because I don't think people die in a hoax. There's something really odd that I can't shake, okay? But it was fate, all right? It happened, needs to be accepted. Now, there is some, well, let me just tell you, this morning I was looking for some people talking about this, and I came upon a journalist, a British journalist who lives here, and she's often on Good Morning Joe. Her name is Katty Kay, and she's now partnered up with a podcast with Anthony Scaramucci, who was press secretary for 8 minutes for Donald Trump. Together this morning, they painted a very grim picture for Biden as a result of this shooting yesterday. And it was just shameful. It was shameful. And they did the same thing. I mean, they did the same thing as when he gave a poor debate. And they were coming on like it's awful and this is bad, and they were grim. And I was appalled. They never... Trump is alive. He got a scratch, okay? He's not in the hospital with bullet wounds. So things are just going to go on. But this is going to be material for Donald Trump to play the victim, to make accusations. He'll probably even come out and say Joe Biden made it happen, right? We know that's not true. But the shooting did identify that disruption rune, which was the middle rune that I picked yesterday. And here we are. We got the disruption. So I did do one set of runes today, again, and this is how I asked the runes, what I asked the runes. I asked the runes, will Joe Biden prevail? That seemed to me like a good way to pose the question. Will Joe Biden prevail? And it, as a result of this happening yesterday. So the first rune I got all good runes, by the way. I got all positive runes. Boom, boom, boom. They just flowed. So the first rune I got was the rune of partnership, which is always a good rune. Partnership. So I'll just share a few things about partnership. One of the nicknames for this rune, because this rune, the ancient name is Gebo, G-E-B-O, but it's considered the love rune. Okay, so that's interesting. Rune of partnership, the love rune. But it's of all types. And most people think either business or romantic when it comes to partnerships, but there are partnerships of all types. And I'm thinking of the partnership between Joe Biden and the United States and the people like you and I. And although it's about supply and demand, the modern economy actually works on the partnerships of the seller and the buyer. And our economy is doing well. And Wall Street is doing well. So it's a good way to start the reading. Partnerships. Then the next rune I got, another goodie, I got breakthrough. And these first two, none of the runes that I chose by blindly putting my hand in that have a reverse. None of them have a reverse. They're all, it's like you turn it and it's the same rune. So that's breakthrough. And breakthrough is positive. So breakthrough is the spiritual warrior. And I think that's what Joe Biden is right now. He's the spiritual warrior. It signifies, listen carefully, a major shift or breakthrough in the process of self-change. A complete transformation in attitude. Now, I think we've begun to see that with Joe Biden, a transformation, because he's gotten more fierce. For some, the transition is so radical that they are no longer able to live life the ordinary way. And what comes to mind is he's more determined now than ever. And because the timing is right, the outcome is assured, although not from the present vantage point. So not as of today or maybe tomorrow. There's more of this kerfuffle and noise and, oh my God, this is going to take Biden down more, but not according to my reading. And it says radical trust is called for here. And I'm going to mention it again. We've got 3.5 months. 3.5 months. And I am guessing that the RNC is going to be a SHIT show. That's what I think it's going to be, a mess and an embarrassment. So radical trust is called for here for Joe Biden and all of us believers in Joe Biden. So this rune is about the bright warmth of the sun as it breaks through the final barriers, illuminating everything. Breakthrough speaks of prosperity. A breakthrough in anything that held you back from your forward progression. And it's akin to being released from a quagmire. This is good, my friends. And the sudden release of energies may well propel you forward. We like that. So it also speaks of prosperity, of being able to break through. Now, remember, the question was, will Joe Biden prevail? These runes are answering that question very clearly. Then the last rune, another beauty, harvest. Harvest. And see, there is no reverse. It's interesting. No reverse on these. They're all what they are. Just like Joe Biden is what he is. Okay? Harvest is a rune of beneficial outcomes. It applies to any endeavor you are committed. Any endeavor that Joe is committed. Okay? Because this is about Joe. Now, it normally involves 1 year, this rune. It talks of 1 year because it's talking about soil and harvest. It's not going to be 1 year. But 1 year from now, we could really be reaping the benefits of his win, therefore, harvest. It represents momentum, peace, and harmony, which is more partnership. And in terms of the future, it means that a time of abundance may be coming. It is a rune of patience and movement. So we have to be patient. We have prepared the ground and planted the seed. Joe has prepared the ground. His team have done that, planted the seed, and it offers encouragement of success. I hope that makes you feel better. Now, my left ear advises all of us, gather yourselves and be quiet. Be still. Just trust and wait. There are 3.5 months ahead of us. Much will happen, much can happen. And remember, I said at the end of yesterday's video, was it yesterday or the day before? I'm losing track now. Did I do it Friday or did I Saturday? I'd have to look back. But I did say, because it was positive, my reading was positive, it's going to be a rough summer. I told everybody that. Like, this is not going to be smooth. There's going to be shocks and surprises, and I'm holding to that. And this is an example, this thing that happened yesterday. And I also want to leave you with this, that the last 4 or 5 days, Joe Biden has been doing fantastic. His public, speeches, NATO, the talk on foreign policy, and then him, I think, talking to union people, he's just been spot on. I mean, and this is only going to make it more. He's not done being great. That's what I wrote. Sit with that. Joe Biden is not done with being great. He's a man on a mission. And I forgot to mention, my co-host today is Petey. And when Petey saw me setting up, he just got up here and said, oh, okay, we're going to do a show. And he's in his little nap because he likes the sound of me talking. He likes being up here. So I love that he's joining us. I wish he had a little more animation, but he's in that nap. All right, so now we're doing quotes. And I've got 2 quotes here. I'm going to say the quote, and then I'm going to tell you who said it, because it's very apropos. This person said, I am not bound to win, but I am bound to be true. I'm not bound to succeed, but I am bound to live by the light that I have. I must stand with anybody that stands right, and stand with him while he is right, and part with him when he goes wrong. And that was Abraham Lincoln. Abraham Lincoln, who was shot. So I found that this morning. Then the other quote that I want to share is by Omar Bradley. And Omar Nelson Bradley was a senior officer of the United States Army during and after World War II, rising to the rank of General of the Army. He was the first chairman of the Joint Chief of Staff and oversaw the U.S. military's policymaking in the Korean War. And this is what he said: "The world has achieved brilliance without wisdom, power without conscience. Ours is a world of nuclear giants and ethical infants. We know more about war than we know about peace, more about killing than we know about living." And we should all learn something from Omar Bradley. So this is what I wanted to come on and say to you today. It's not too long. It's 16 minutes. Maybe listen to it again. If I was you, I'd listen to the runes reading again, because this runes reading, it just, answered the question. Will Joe Biden prevail? And this is clear. The answer is clear. But once again, not without conflict, not without a fight, not without difficulty. I'll tell you what the word that just flew into my ear, it was Trump's going to backfire. So rest, wait. What was my advice here? Gather yourselves and be quiet and wait on the will of heaven. There's much ahead of us. So I'll see you very soon. As I promised you, I'm going to come back more often. It may not be every single day, but today demanded it, that I come in and talk a little bit. So there you go. Have a good Sunday, and I'll see you soon. Interested in your comments, and thanking you for following, subscribing, giving me a thumbs up. All of that stuff is really helping, and reminding you that I am here. As I stated yesterday or the day before, my mission now is to be one of the people, even though I'm infinitesimal on the planet, to help Joe Biden get reelected, because it's the right thing to do. And I want you all to join me in that vision. And every single day, take that moment and go, how am I going to feel that night that Joe Biden wins? And you'll get a surge of dopamine, a surge of good hormones, and just stay with that surge, okay? Because that goes out into the universe in ways that we still don't completely understand. Hold the vision, and I'll see you soon. Make peace, make memories. And Petey says bye-bye.